Arsenal 2, Tottenham 2. Guys, right now I feel very deflated. I feel violated. By who? Jorginho. I felt so disappointed. I am so disappointed in Jorginho. I am so disappointed in all the team, all the boys. Right now, I think Saka was the only player on that pitch that was up for the fight, that was up for the battle. Everyone else just looked a bit shaky for me. Odegaard tried. I have to give Odegaard credit. Even though he wasn't doing his best on the ball, he was tracking back and he was running, he was pressing, he was clamping down players. So for me, Odegaard has improved in his intensity as a captain, his aggression as a captain, because this is one of the things I've been very critical of Odegaard on. And in this match, he proved me wrong, that he's able to handle the big situation, the big games, the big matches, and lead by example. So once again, even though he didn't have the best of game on the ball, his off the ball display was superb. Lots of closing down. I see him running from minute 1 to the ending, non-stop. And that's what we want to see from our captain, especially when we're not playing well. Now, this is debatable when I said we're not playing well. Because some might say, man, we've had a very good match. We have to give Tottenham credit for playing good. But for me, we've had so many chances we could have taken the lead. Gabriel Jesus smashing the ball right over the top instead of accurately guiding the ball. I'm disappointed in Gabriel J as well. The one that we should be looking to, the guy that came from City with the big price tag, with the big expectation, with the big experience, saying that he's here to basically alleviate the pressure from the team and to help us to go to. For me, he doesn't do enough in big matches. That's a prime situation to show us your quality, show us your experience. Finish, keep your head, and just hit the target. Blast the ball straight over. I was disappointed in Vieira. He didn't have the worst of matches, but comparing to his recent resurgence in the team, I believe that he would have done a lot better than what he did today. A lot better. Declan Rice, always man of the match for me, but today, for instance, from his own standard, from the standard that he set himself from West Ham, and the first 6 matches for us, poor. He was poor in midfield. He'd done a few things, he'd done a few interceptions, however, didn't do enough. Tottenham dominate midfield. For me, what I saw, the eye test, and once again, the stats will back up my eye test. So let's just get straight into the stats now. Finish talking now. It's annoying, it's boring. Let's just get into the stats. So we see Zinchenko got a rating of 7.1. Gabriel Magalhaes 6.9. William Saliba 6.9. David Raya 6.9. Benjamin Wine 6.6. Martin Odegaard 6.6. Declan Rice 6.7. Fabio Vieira, the poorest, one of the poorest score for us, 6.4. Gabriel Jesus 7. Eddie Nketiah with the lowest score, 6.3. Bukayo Saka 8.6. Bukayo Saka was the man of the match for us. Nketiah was very, 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 very poor. And I can't criticize Arteta for saying, he shouldn't have played him, because I'm speaking in hindsight right now. Who knows? Nketiah could have had a brilliant match. But personally, I wouldn't have started Nketiah, but I cannot criticize Arteta for starting him, because he, on another day, probably would have played well. But today, he did not have a good match, and we're going to get into the reasons why. So we see for Tottenham, they're basically similar stats as us. They have two player, one Christian Romero with a 6.3, because he scored the own goal and he conceded the penalty. We see Destiny with a 6.4, and for me, he had a very good match. He had a very good match, but guess what? You know why I got a 6.4? Because Saka dealt with him. Saka cut his belly out, chopping, spinning, turning. His head is like he's on a Ferris wheel right now. Saka dealt with him nicely. So for me, this was Saka's best match of the season. Many will say it's against PSV. Many will say it's against Nottingham Forest. But for me, against this opposition, he had a brilliant brilliant match, and I wanted to see him get the man of the match trophy for this brilliant performance. They've got another low performance from Ben Johnson at 6, so they've got the lowest performing player on the pitch, and they got the highest performing player on the pitch. Basuma with a 6.9. James Maddison, he didn't play the best. For me, he done okay. So overall, we had a better score and average than Tottenham, because they had 1, 2, 3, 4. They had 4 players subpar below 6.5. 4 players, and we've only had 2. So for me, we had our players, and they had the best player on the pitch, and their second best player was Maddison at 7.7, and our second best player was Zinchenko at 7.1. So that's a 6-point gap from 7.1 to 7.7. So one could say it squirts out in terms of their second best player was better than our second best player. So there we go. Now this is where I am also angry at my team and disappointed. We had 13 shots. Tottenham had 13 shots. No team should be coming to the Emirates and having the same amount of shot as us. No team. I don't care who you are. The Cities, the Tottenham, the Man United, the Chelseas. No team should be coming to the Emirates enjoying 13 shots at our goal and having 5 on target to our 6. Just one. We had 1 more shot on target compared to them. And this is why I can't hide it anymore. I need a striker like Ivan Toney. I need a striker like Victor Osimhen. We need a clinical striker, because we see Jesus had about 2 chances, 1 clear-cut chance, kicking the ball right over the goal, not even on target. That's so frustrating. You had the opportunity to put us in the lead, to create a gap, and you skying the ball. We need a clinical finisher, one that's tall, clinical, aggressive, eye for goal. We need a striker like this, because Eddie Nketiah is not cutting it for us right now. We can't keep waiting. I agree that Nketiah at times is brilliant, out of this world performances, but it's not consistent enough. We need a consistent goal scorer, someone like Ivan Toney, and I believe that we will get Ivan Toney in January or the summer, and that's another reason why I think we got David Raya, because their link-up play is superb. We see in the last match against PSV, Raya is basically practicing, keeping up his passing fitness, one would say, for when Tony comes in. He'll be able to hit those passes to Tony. I see he was practicing on Odegaard and on Havertz. So we see possession. Tottenham had more possession than us. This is a shame. We should be ashamed of ourselves. And in the preview I've done, if you watch the preview, you would realize how much I emphasize that Tottenham has improved in possession. Tottenham, and the only thing we've beat them, Tottenham beat us in every metrics, in every skill, in the first 5 matches. The 5 teams we play against, the 5 teams they play against, on average, they beat us in every department apart from one. That was possession. And they came to the Emirates and we gave up the possession. We gave up dominance of that match in terms of possession. They had 54 possession, we had our 46. That's disappointing. Passes, we had 370. Tottenham had 435 passes. Tottenham had more passes than us. And we are a passing team. We are known for our passing, just like Man City, just like Barcelona. Tottenham, they're just improving. They're just trying to reach our levels. And they came to the Emirates. They came to the Emirates and we allowed them to play our kind of game against us. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Passing accuracy, 85 compared to they had 85 compared to our 84. Fouls, they were basically so aggressive in the match. They had 19 fouls to our 12 because they wanted to be on top. They wanted to show us, they wanted to bully us. It didn't work, but they tried. Corners, we had 11, they had 4. We see that the penalty came from a corner, an indirect corner kick, whereas it was a bit ping balling. The ball was ping balling in the area, and then Ben White got shot off and hit Ramirez on. But apart from that, we should have done more, because once again in my preview of the match, Tottenham, they're not as good as us in the air. So we should have taken advantage of things like that. And I see we tried to, because we didn't do the short corners like we did against other teams. So I see that Arteta understood the assignment. However, it wasn't our day in terms of headering the ball inside the net. So out of 9 players, Tottenham only have 3 players on top. So this shows the best players in the match. And Tottenham, Son was the best player of the match. Saka was the second. Maddison was the third. Vicario was the fourth, their keeper. So that shows you that we were doing something right. If their keeper is being mentioned as one of the best players, the 4th best player in the match, that shows that we were doing something right. And when you come down the line, Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, David Raya, Gabriel Magalhaes, William Saliba, we had more players performing better than they did. But where's the result? What's the point? What were they doing? Because I don't understand, with all these ratings, it doesn't show in possession. It doesn't show with shots. Only shot on target, which is just one more. For having so much player, it doesn't show in pass, it doesn't show in anything. For having so much player, I can't see what we've done with it. I can't see what. Now, this is a comparison of the average possession. The left-hand side shows you the average possession before substitution. It's a similar formation like what we done against PSV. However, we see that once again, on the left hand, on the right hand wing, on the right hand side, Saka and Odegaard are playing together. They're playing basically on top of each other because they're people in the Premier League double up on Saka. So most of the time we're going to see Odegaard right beside Saka. So the match we saw Odegaard played in the Champions League, whereas he was dominating in midfield against PSV because he was roaming all over the pitch because he didn't have to help Saka because they weren't doubling up on Saka. We see a difference here. Odegaard went back to his normal gameplay. And that, for me, we need to find other ways to open Odegaard up to make him basically having a more free role to do what he wants to do. Because that's how we get the best out of Odegaard. Yes, he can perform well beside Saka. Doing the 1-2s, doing the through balls. He performs well there. But we can even see a better Odegaard. So I believe that this is a challenge for Arteta now to find ways to unlock Odegaard to be free roaming whilst helping Saka to basically having a way out from all these players doubling up and tripling up against him. That's the job for Arteta. Now, in the second, when the substitute came off, we see on the average possession on the right hand side, we see in the first phase before we got the subs, it was all spaced out. Everything was even. Everything was basically spread evenly across the pitch. When the subs came on, we see that we targeted the left-hand side. We targeted the right back and the right centre-back. We targeted them, and that's where we tried to get success. Most of the time when we have substitution, this is what will always happen. The left side drifts a bit backwards and basically going on a defensive route, while the right-hand side go more attacking. Because we see that Jorginho is defending our right-hand side. He's not totally in centre. He's defending the right-hand side. Martin Odegaard is the only attacking player on that side. But we see Nketiah. We see Smith Rowe. We see Reece Nelson, Kai Havertz, Zinchenko. All of these players attacking on the left-hand side, trying to create an overload. Which this shows me that it's a strategy from Arteta, because in the last five matches, the substitute came on. This is a system. This is basically a pattern of play that always happens. But unfortunately, in this match, we didn't have success. When Havertz started and Vieira came on, these are the position he picks up on the left-hand side, cross it in for Nketiah, giving Nketiah goals, setting up goals. This was the position he picked up. But we didn't have Vieira in this match because he got taken off. As what I said, he didn't have the poorest of matches, but comparing to his standard that he made for himself for the last 2 matches, it was poor. So this is the last stats I want to go through with you. So we see the passing map. Once again, David Raya going to Gabriel Magalhaes, going to William Saliba, going to Benjamin White. In previous matches, we see him go. In the last 2 matches, he went to Declan Rice. This match, he didn't go to Declan Rice, not even once. If you look at the bigger lines, he went directly to Nketiah a few times because we can see a small line there. But if you look at the bigger lines, this is where most of the gameplay was, right? The triangle between David Raya, William Saliba, and Gabriel Magalhaes. Another triangle between William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Zinchenko. Another triangle between Gabriel Magalhaes, Zinchenko, and Vieira. Now, over the right hand side, we see smaller triangles or more weird shaped triangles with Saka, Benjamin White, and Odegaard, or William Saliba, Saka, and Odegaard. But apart from that, there was no triangle that exists with Nketiah. There was no triangle with Nketiah. Nketiah was there by himself. There was no link-up play. Look at Gabriel J. There was not even one pass between Gabriel Jesus and Nketiah. How do we expect to score frequently, fluid? How do we expect our... So this is something I have to criticize Mikel Arteta for. No pass from Fabio Vieira to Gabriel J or to Nketiah. Not even one. There was no pass from Declan Rice to Nketiah or Vieira. What was going on? Not even one. What was going on? So, 4 players in Declan Rice, Fabio Vieira, Gabriel Jesus, and Eddie Nketiah did not pass to each other. 4 players in our attacking third. Obviously, the outcome will be not winning this match. Because you can't have in your strikers, your attacking players, your 3 of your best attacking players, and one of the better players are transitioning into the third half, not linking up, not creating patterns, not creating triangles. So for me, I don't know what Arteta was trying. Obviously, he must have been trying something, because he wouldn't go out and tell the player not to be passing to certain players. So he must have been trying to create a system on the left-hand side, trying to create attacking players on the left and on the right, but less in the middle, because he was perhaps weary of Tottenham's midfield centre mids. But for me, it was not good enough. It was not good enough. We need to see a better pattern with our strikers, with our left. Nketiah did not link up with Gabriel Jesus, not even once. And for me, that's concerning. So that's the video there again. Disappointed. Very disappointed. Ashamed of my team today. We didn't lose. But for me, it felt like a loss. It's playing against Spurs, our arch rivals. Having more possession than us. Having them, for me, the way I see them play, they were more assured than us. Even though we had chance, because our goal was a penalty. One of them was a penalty. Another one was a deflected goal. Their goal was even cleaner than our goals. So that's the video there again, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Catch you in the next video, guys. Goodbye.